Good morning. This is Luda Kopkina with GAI Insights. Welcome to our AI Daily News. We have lots of fascinating articles today from what's happening with Copilot inside Microsoft, what the material discovery with the help of Gen AI, is the inference cost going down and the like. It's really doesn't look like a Monday. So let's start, because on Monday we usually have much different set of articles. This is quite impactful. Okay, let's start with the first article. I have John and Adam today, and Paul. Welcome, Paul. So the whole great set of analysts. So let's start with the first article. Ankash is on vacation, so we'll work without him for this week. Okay, so the first article is, as I said, Copilot within Microsoft. This is a survey of folks within Microsoft, anonymous in most cases, and it talks about how it's taken within Microsoft, and people are really not happy with it. So this is Paul. Paul, what do you think about this article?
You know, I thought this article is a bit gossipy. It is gossipy. It does 100% represent what we continue to hear and see, that the functionality is not there, that $30 a month per user is steep as hell, that when people send out this link without enough coaching, instructor-led coaching, it doesn't work. But Microsoft is the leader on terms of market share in enterprise. So I had as important for the AI leader. They should certainly be aware of this. And it is a really important trend that Microsoft needs to get their act together here, because they're going to slow adoption, because we're already slowing adoption. Go ahead, that's important.
Okay. What do you think will happen within the Microsoft? Should they, within Copilot within Microsoft, would they improve it? Do you think they will take it off? What do you think?
I mean, we've got Adam who's closer to it. My 2 cents is absolutely nothing. They're going to continue to improve, and 2 years from now, it'll be much better than it is now. And they've got market share, home field advantage.
It's night and day compared to 3 months ago, and certainly another 3 months or 6 months from now. They are in continuing to invest heavily in this. I mean, basically all roads lead to AI at Microsoft right now, and we're just going to continue to see this get better. Right? They did it with the operating system. They did it with the spreadsheet. They did it with the gaming console. Right? They come to market aggressively early with a product that isn't ready, and everyone complains. And by version 3 or 4, they own the market, and they're just sticking to their playbook in a very, very strategic manner here. That I agree, it's important though. This is not a smear piece. There's a lot of very fair criticism here, and it's important that the AI executive is informed about some of the challenges and limitations that currently exist in the tools. And I say tools because that's one of the challenges. Is there are 53 co-pilots, and it's a bit confusing to keep track of what you're actually dealing with when and what features and capabilities are available.
And Adam, I know 2 cases where the AI leader has gotten backlash because this wasn't received. It's gone back to this person and the whole AI Center of Excellence program. So I think it's another in the piece of evidence that AI leader can use. This is a known problem, and we're betting Microsoft will get better.
Yeah, so the article also mentions that there's lots of rumblings in the senior management team at Microsoft that the money, the margin is coming from other businesses that is supporting this is AI drive, but the leadership is really focused on AI and improving it. It's really like everything is AI. So it's kudos to that, but they will need to put it all together and get it going. Yeah. Okay. Important is then. Yeah, John?
For me, I think the critical thing is that you can't give somebody a complex tool and expect them to use it without training. And, people that's like, okay, so you ship somebody a pipe organ. Have fun. It's like, how do I use this thing?
Yeah. Anyway. Okay. Important it is. Let's go next.
All
So
right.
the next article is about ChatGPT integration with the apps that are open on your. Uh-oh, we lost John. And us, we lost the articles. Hold on. All right. Adam, do you have it open by chance? We're having technical difficulties. Hold on 1 second.
Hey there.
Oh, it's John.
Sorry, I managed to get rid of myself here. Just a sec. All right.
Yeah. So Adam, why don't you start describing? So this is a little X post that talks about ChatGPT integration with other tools like Terminal and the like, where you can build a software program essentially on the fly. Yeah, here we go. Thanks, John. Adam? Hello?
Yeah, so this is interesting. Like if it were any other time, this would be mind-blowing, right? To know that ChatGPT can now control the desktop. It's only for macOS for now, and it's something we've been waiting for. So in some ways, I'm happy to see it's coming. But when you look at other tools out there like Cursor and some the Claude desktop app that can control, this is OpenAI stepping into the ring and starting to compete in that space. It is only for macOS for now, and there are other tools that are starting to do it. It could be considered important, particularly given the position OpenAI sits in the space. But I was on the border between optional and important. It's just the first indications of OpenAI getting their hooks into the system, but we knew this was coming, and it's not widely available yet. So I was on the fence.
Mm.
Yeah, I was more on important, maybe even essential. Here we have the market leader. It's a beautiful example of a true co-pilot, right? This is watching you do the work and then creating it. Like what we're looking at here, is for those of you who haven't looked at it, this is somebody changing an app. It's watching him create the app for the weather, and then he's just saying, hey, I need a window for real-time updates, and then it goes ahead and does that, copies, puts in the new code, and then is runnable. I don't know. I hear you, Adam, and obviously you're a developer. I'm not. But this notion of having a true co-pilot in something as important as software development, I thought was at least important.
Yeah, I was with important as well. Ashish states that it is AI as an operating system. This is not quite there yet, but it's certainly an indication. And Anthropic showed us that they're doing it. So it is going to be pretty pervasive, but it's another trend. So Ashish is rating it as important. I'm with him, actually. Paul, what do you think? Paul?
Thumbs up.
Thumbs up. All right. Important it is.
Important it is. Let's go next, John.
All right. So our next is an interesting article that, excuse me a second, let me do one thing here. Stop sharing that. An interesting article. It talks about the deflation of the cost of inference. So this is from our friends at Anderson Horowitz. And what we have here, the methodology is that they took the cost of LLMs using the MMLU score as saying that these are comparable. And then down here we have a lovely graph that shows the deflation. That's 3 orders of magnitude. So this is on the left-hand side here, we have cost in dollars per million of tokens. So it was $60 for GPT-3. And now it's, decreased down to, just cents per. And you can see they're saying it's 1,000-fold decrease in equivalent inference. And, so this is a log scale over here, for those of you who remember log scales. And the question is, will these large language model prices on the token basis continue to come down due to these 6 different activities: cost, performance, quantization, which is a big deal, software optimization, smaller models, better instruction, open source. So interesting from our friends at Interesting Horowitz.
Yeah, so you rate it as what?
I rate this as important, maybe essential, because of the factor input. When you have any factor input like inference that has value for you, decreasing at this speed is going to cause changes in business models. And so I think I rate it as important to essential. And then there's another whole thing, which is the demand for tokens and inference is going up. So it's a really interesting trade-off as to what you'll be able to do.
Adam, what are your thoughts?
I would support important. I think I wouldn't support it. This is nice data that backs what I believe most people already know, which is why I wouldn't say essential. I think it's pretty clear that the cost for inference has been dropping dramatically, like by orders of magnitude. And models not only get more powerful, but cost less than previous models because of the gains in efficiency and the gains in the training and the output. So I definitely important though. I know a lot of companies that are even still, as much as this has dropped, very, very sensitive about the cost for the inference, and it adds up. So this is important to the bottom line, but I think it's just more evidence of the continuation of the trend that I would hope they're already aware of.
Okay, sounds like important. I was also on important, John. Okay, with important, everybody, Paul?
Yeah, definitely important. I think we got to also continue to help the AI leader to get away from this linear thinking. We're only talking about inference on one model. It's going to be super cheap on the 3.5 quality, expensive on the higher ones.
Yeah, okay, important it is. Let's go next. The next one talks about a Chinese company that trained ChatGPT rival with way less GPUs. And this is Paul. Paul, what do you think?
This is optional. I mean, I think this is optional. Yeah, I think we continue to see a lot of experimentation on training, and but for AI later, this is optional. It's out of China, which is still skeptical for a lot of companies. So optional.
Yeah, I thought it was interesting. I was reminded of the old saying, "Necessity is the mother of invention." They've as far as I can tell from this article, they're doing some really innovative things in terms of using memory to cache data and partially computed inference. And then it's also a little fuzzy in terms of what the technology is they're actually using. So, and I think it's worthwhile to be skeptical of claims in general, especially from tech companies, especially from Chinese tech companies talking about how they're more efficient. But I also had it as optional. But I thought fascinating. Again, I think this is right now a horse race between two countries, the U.S. and China.
Okay, optional it is. Kevin notes, though, that about the Moore's law, agreeing with you on the previous article of inference.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's certainly a...
Yeah. And Lucinda's saying, okay, how does it change business models? Lucinda, it basically allows you to create new business models if you've got two things that are going on. One is a much lower cost of production, and then a much more scalable capability if I can do inference. So, for example, one could imagine, a completely different kind of, media company that, looks more like Craigslist and less like Paramount. And that would be, very different kind of business model in the context of this. So if you go back in business history, anytime when you had, transportation costs coming down, manufacturing costs coming down, people came up with new ways to compete. But it takes about I think it takes about 5 to 7 years for these new models to show themselves. Anyway, all right.
Just as an aside, Jensen Huang recently used the term hyper Moore's law.
Hyper Moore's law.
Yeah. It's an exponential of an exponential. He said it's beyond Moore's.
Yeah.
Hyper Moore's law. I love it. What will they think of next? Okay.
Okay. Next.
Next.
So the next one is about the state of AI agents. This is Adam, and it talks about where we are with the agents and where they're used, and it's coming from LangChain, and as you know, they have a graph representation that they're using for agents. Okay, Adam, what did you think about this?
I thought this was a really great report. I will put in the comments for the listeners a link actually to a post on X from LangChain, because they actually do a really good job in that post of creating a thread that summarizes 5 key insights from it. And it's just a really good visual diary that goes through some of the findings. Like the first one there, which is that half of the people already have agents in production. I can't remember. I think it was 1,300 plus industry professionals, from developers to business leaders, and especially with how quickly things are moving towards agentic systems, to understand what's happening in the landscape and to have the sort of insights that are in this article. I would debate it as either. So as you scroll down there, you can see 1, agent adoption is a coin toss, and there's the graph, and then 2, research and summarization is the leading agent use case, right? And then number 3, tracking observability and human oversight are crucial. So it just does a really good job of highlighting what otherwise is a fairly deep article. And I would say it's debatably essential news. It's, especially in this format, it's concise. You get a good sense of where the landscape's going, where it is currently, and it's at a minimum important for the leader to understand what's happening with agents right now.
Yeah, I thought as a research company, a publishing company as we are, I also found it really interesting that you gravitated toward the 5, tweet version as opposed to the actual document, and I think that's a different way to consume info. Interesting. Our friend Colberry was talking about, this notion of how decreasing cost of AI is going to, really drive adoption. I think this agentic stuff as well. When we talk about, I'm skeptical in terms of what an agent is really. I mean, it's a subroutine. It's just really RPA with a little bit of authority, but whatever.
Actually, the article gives a definition of agents. Maybe the article itself, not.
I know, but still, it's anyway.
Yeah. So I actually can support essential.
Essential.
Yeah, okay. Essential, because for the slightly different reason, because we've been talking about agents not being used as much. What they are saying, and they are very much into the depth of it, right? That they are, and they are quite for interesting applications and quite sustainably. So it's data for the leaders to have in their back pocket for sure when they're working on the agents applications, and they will be pervasive actually over time.
Yeah, their definition of agents. So if I use traditional machine learning and AI, it's not an agent, because their definition of agent says you need an LLM in the middle.
Not in the middle, it's LLM. So the agent.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So if I don't use an LLM, if I use a traditional machine learning model, that's not an agent?
Debatable.
Yeah, well, that's what they say. Anyway, I hear you. I'm okay with essential in terms of adoption, and
Paul, Adam. Oh, Adam said essential. Paul, what do you think?
Yeah, equipping the AI leader with articles that help them navigate the agentic discussion, I think, is now essential. We saw that Salesforce is now hiring 1,000 new reps to sell Agentforce. We're preparing to go to AWS in conference December 2nd through the 6th in Vegas, and agents are all over that here. every consultant we're talking about agents. So I think AI leaders are going to be inundated now with agents over the next 6 months here, and this is a good article, help them start getting their head around it. I agree with John that lack of definition is infuriating, but this is all the rage in the valley, and the hype machine is at full throttle right now in agents.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Vivek mentions that these are adopted by tech first. I can't find it right now, but I thought I saw that the folks who responded to the survey were 70% tech and like 5% healthcare and so forth. So absolutely, Vivek, this is a little bit of an echo chamber thing happening in technology, but it is there. I think it was about 11% financial services, if memory serves. So there is a broader base here. Okay,
All
so
right.
we're going essential. We're
Go
gonna
essential. Go
going
essential.
crazy on a Monday here.
Yeah, crazy Monday here. All right.
Okay.
What we are going to next, and this
And,
is
and I'm sorry, Luda, before we leave, I think this also just means this CISO, security officers and data governance people need to get all over this trend, because we're debating what the definition of agent is. They're debating inside companies as well, and security needs to understand whatever we're using here.
Yeah, absolutely.
So
All right.
we've been predicting that, Paul. We've been talking about agents maturing, the technology is maturing, the uptake wasn't as good, right? We thought. This article just says, look, the agents technology is maturing and there is uptake. So it's just confirming that it's there.
No, but I just play devil's advocate. If I'm a CISO, I'm telling Adam, my AI enthusiast, to slow down, that nothing gets deployed in agents in the next 6 months here until we all can agree on what exactly the definition of an agent is. And but I'm just balancing the hype cycle awareness right now with.
But okay, yeah, talk about definition. But who cares? As long as it does the job and it does what you've trained it to do, and it does it well, and it saves you time. I think I wouldn't care as a leader what the definition of an agent is, whether it's machine learning or whether it's an LLM in the middle. If it does its job, hey, well, let's do it. And it does it securely and it doesn't mess up. I'm in.
Yeah, I think that for me the challenge is that I don't think we should wait for the definition of agents. I think the challenge is that there's specific things that you need to do from an architecture standpoint to truly be able to reallocate decision responsibilities. And just calling anything that hits an LLM an agent, I think, blunts the re-architecting of businesses in such a way that you really can do agentic things. So anyway, that's what my problem is with it.
Am I more practical, Adam? Let's assume we all work for Fidelity. So we have a proposed deployment of an application March 31st that has some type of subroutine that has an agent in it. And then one question I'm asking is, what's a set of use cases here that need to be satisfied for the exit criteria before that goes in production? And we're going to say, hey, it's all probabilistic here, Anyway, I think this idea of capability versus high confidence production is a big Grand Canyon, and it's going to get even wider with this discussion and amplification on agents, is my only point.
Yeah, I agree with you, Paul. And the reason being because you're giving agents some capacity to execute. And like if you're giving it your credit card with no strings attached, that's a big commitment, right? So that's the additional risk that people have to contend with.
Yeah, I agree with Kevin there, high numbers. All right, but we're going to give it as essential.
We're giving it essential and going to the last item.
Yeah. Yes, we are going to the last item, which let me see here. I've got it right here.
So this is about MIT articles that talks about material discovery. It's for material scientists. Material science is known to be, or new materials drive 2/3 of new technologies, an interesting statistic. So this is a long article of 38 number pages, but very well done, talking about one lab, R&D lab, using a Gen AI model to come up with new materials. So John, what did you think about it?
All right, I'm going to make the case for essential on this. And the reason is that so much of our conversation from, the beginning of today, we're talking about Copilot and so forth, is about, using these large models basically as the next phase of robotic process automation, right? We can do new things. We can do call centers. We can do, marketing designs. We can do customized emails. This is about what I think is a really important part. And oh, by the way, the argument in there is that you're making everybody better, especially the low end up. What I think is fantastic about this article, and it's right here in the abstract. Thank goodness, because that's all I got to. But is this notion that by automating 50 to 7% of the idea generation tasks, it makes the better people even better. So they discovered 44% more materials, and that the high end is going up. I think that is profound for any organizations where the very top end of your knowledge workers, your wins workers, create all kinds of new value. So where is this the case? This is the case in certain kinds of financial services, trading, and innovation. This is true in drug discovery. This is true in material science. This is, I bet, also true in certain kinds of engineering designs with high performance aircraft and so forth. So I think this is the idea that you can take your very best people and make them a lot better in these areas, I think is really important for folks to know.
And John, just the other side of that insight, which is the last sentence there, 82% of them found reduced satisfaction due to decreased creativity. And 71% indicated they plan to reskill to adapt to the changing environment. So it is very interesting. They are getting more out of people, but people aren't going to want to do the jobs. It's a fascinating article. Yeah.
Yeah.
So Adam, support essential?
I'd hesitate. It's the findings could be essential. It'll certainly, as John points out, extend to other fields and areas as well. And it does challenge some of the dominant paradigms around who it makes better and how. I was probably going important given the length, but people can put it in ChatGPT and chat about it if they don't want to at least read the abstract, right? And I would put an essential on it.
Yeah, I would too. There was so many interesting insights here of the dynamics of the expertise versus or with AI or without AI. It's a pretty sizable group, 1,000 plus researchers of different skills over time when the company that this lab is in actually made changes. Some researchers left, new researchers were hired. So it's a very interesting article, regardless whether you're in material science or not, of the impact on Gen AI and innovation. I think it's worth putting it as essential. John, you were going to say something also.
No, that's fine. That's great. Thanks. All right. So we have 2 essentials, 1 optional, and 3 importance here. All right. Let me just.
Yeah, 2 essentials, 3 importance, and 1 optional.
It's a big Monday.
Yeah, no, this is very, this is fascinating.
Yeah, I'm doing the wrong one here. Sorry.
No, that's okay, John.
Let me go ahead and here we are. Just a second. Go here. Present.
We'll just have this figured out by the time Onkaj gets back.
You got it. You got it, dude. That's the plan.
It's okay. I think we got it. And Adam, I have your links.
There we are.
The newsletter. Here we go. Yeah, 2 essentials, 3 importance, 1 optional. Thank you all very much. It was great participation from all of you. Kevin, Vivek, Lucinda, Ashish. Yeah, so great. Yeah, very important Monday. Thank you very much.
Thanks, everybody. Bye now.
Bye. Thanks, John.
Oh, Learning Lab tonight.
Oops.